It's the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room where real conversations take place. Hello, you far too kind. This a place where you could come to say what's on your mind. Come and spend some time, it's a family show. Place where we deal with reality, so real topics, what's poppin', no stopping, just make sure you watching. This is a show for entrepreneurs and for those who clock in. Black people, brown people, ab people, this culture. We're supposed to support one another, let love take over in the living room. It's the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room where real conversations take place. It's the living room.
Well, welcome back to the living room. It's your boy, the Bishop. I am back. I know last week we had an urgent emergency press conference, and that's why we had to postpone the living room. But we are back, and we wanted to make sure that this black empowerment that we're doing is not just here on set, but we are activists and we're out in the community. So that press conference was needed after the Chauvin trial, and to hear the verdict and to make sure that everybody realize what's going on in the world today. We're keeping you abreast at press conferences, and also, Brother Christian, right here on the living room where real conversations take place. We take those conversations that are out there in our communities and we bring it right on back here to the living room, and we're going to empower you with some great revelations, some good advice. We have some great people that come on with us on a weekly basis so that you can maximize, I call it accelerated wisdom. You can embrace the wisdom that's being poured out here on the living room and take it back and be able to maximize your life. Now, if there's anything that you hear on the living room, we want you to be able to press that heart button, that like button. We want you to go ahead and type up some stuff in the chat. There may be some questions that you want to ask, or there may be some comments that you want to share with us, some suggestions that you can share with us. Do it right here on the living room. Now, tonight, we're going to have a wonderful conversation about the black image. We're going to talk about not only fashion, but the main topic tonight is going to be on branding. How do we brand ourselves and our business? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I got the right people to hold this conversation with. But before we get into it, that's right, I got the best band in town. It is Darren Brown and the Living Room Band. They're about to take place, and we'll be right back. my goodness. I was just ready to go ahead and listen to some more of that for about 15, 20 more minutes. I'm telling you, they're jamming right here in the living room. I told you I got the best band in town. And if you want to invite them to your event, whatever special events that you may happen to have, just go on and what they say, DM us. DM us here at the living room, and we'll make sure that we can get them out to your special occasion. Now, I am back. Man, I'm excited because I hadn't sat in this chair in about 2 weeks now. And so, you know, I am ready to have a great conversation. I have here as my special guest tonight, just imagine that. Brother Christian is my guest tonight. Everyone knows that whenever you see me, you're going to see Christian. You probably see him everywhere I go. They call us twins right now. They think I'm his father because we both have beards. His is a little bit better than mine. But he helps me, and we just had a photo shoot not too long ago, over the weekend, and I'm telling you, we put a couple of pictures on Facebook, and everybody has given up some great kudos for the photos, and it's all because of your genius and how you were able to translate how I should look, how my wife and I should look, and I'm telling you this, we were styling and profiling because of CXA, Christian Andrew.
Yes, sir.
Right, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, he's usually behind the scene,
Back there.
taking care of all of the business, making sure that we keep and maintain our brand and everything that we do here, not only for the living room, but even in the church. And, you know, you see our new website on our business page, Kingdom Care Child Care Center, and we're with the church, and also we're going to be working on Kingdom Publishing, a new website for our publishing company, and so it's all thanks to Christian and his branding expertise, right? And not only now do I have Christian with me, but I have a very special guest all the way from Columbus, Georgia. All right. She's doing it there in the South, right? and she was, I don't know if you remember, about 2 months ago, I had the Mouth of the South on. Our good friend Robert Gold, who actually introduced us, and I'm so happy to have her here today as by way of Zoom. She zoomed in on us. And,
that's right, zoomed on in.
Right, and she's a 6-time published author, national motivational speaker who was trained under Les Brown, and everybody knows Les, right? Les Brown. Listen, she's the radio personality for iHeartMedia Magic 101.3. She is the incomparable Felicia Hamilton. Welcome, Felicia.
Wow. With that introduction, I'm just going to sit here and be quiet. I'm just going to let you do the talking. That was amazing. I want to just kick back now.
Oh, no. Hey, listen, you are the radio personality. Right. I'm sure. Look, I'm still in my practicing zone. You got it all flowing right.
No, you kicked it off right. That intro music, I'm still in that. I just want you to know. I don't know who cut that track for you, but it is amazing.
Oh no! Listen, our band is right here, you're talking about the intro. Well, I have a young man who's actually a gifted hip hop artist here locally, and I told him and one day he put all that together in one day, and I'm telling you, it's amazing. And he's been a good friend of ours for years. And I remember him on the basketball court when he was a little boy and everything. So that's how long ago it was. And now for us to work together and do things like this right here in the living room. But yes, it was a good track, and I'm sure we can get you in contact with him, and he can lay something to tracks for you.
There you go. They need to send us some of their stuff to the station for sure. This is about branding, right? Let's just Let's get it all branded. Let's make
go.
it happen.
That's right. And listen, I had to get it approved by Christian now.
Okay.
He had to give
I
me the
see him sitting there already, and look, I'm digging the hat, Christian.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
look.
You know I got your color
It's
on.
the red for me.
It's the red
for me.
Okay.
So you probably got some red bottom shoes, but he got a red bottom hat on.
bottom
You know what I
There
mean?
you go. There you go. Mix and match.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
Right.
Well, Felicia, I appreciate you joining us here tonight.
Thank you.
We're going to have
Thank
a good
you.
conversation, and I'm going to let you guys flow. I'm going to ask the questions. I'm going to be like Oprah here tonight. I ask the questions, and I'm going to just let y'all flow because
All right.
this is not my area of expertise when it comes to branding. Now, I do graphics, so I do help out with branding, but you guys know the ins and outs of it, and so I'm gonna just let you guys flow as I ask a couple of questions that maybe we're gonna have some questions also from our viewing audience as well, and so
Sounds good.
So let's kick off with I guess the main question is, and since we're coming from the perspective of image, a lot of and let me even backtrack from there. Today, we're talking about empowering one another in this day and time as Black people. We want to support one another.
Right.
But we found out that a lot of us are starting businesses or even had existing businesses, but these businesses may not have been done professionally, okay, or adequately. They may have good gifts and skills, but it just wasn't really customized. They really even or presented itself where people are perhaps willing to even indulge in the business. So that's why we're here tonight to talk about the Black image, to talk about branding and how we can help push. And somebody who's viewing may have businesses and how we can help them to be able to expand their business. So that's why we're here tonight, because we're going to empower somebody tonight. I feel it.
Yes.
I feel it
There
in my
you go.
bones.
Let's get it.
And listen, Felicia, before we really get into these questions, Christian and I was cracking up because I said, hey, you know, here's a white man talking about Black image.
How'd that work?
So how'd that work out, right?
But you know what? When it comes to style and when it comes to branding, you know, it's a universal message when you're talking about style and you're talking about branding. You know, we're not necessarily so much talking about culture.
Right.
We're talking about culture as it pertains to race. We're talking about culture as it pertains to success. You know, so how do you set up a success culture around your brand and around your name? So yeah, let's get down. I'm excited.
I like that. We're gonna have to start using that, a success
Right,
culture.
exactly. That's good.
You didn't tee up, you didn't trademark that already.
I told you this is my favorite topic. I've been on this entrepreneurial journey since I was 22 years old. So, and I'm not gonna give you my age now. Let's just say many moons later, you know, I've had some trial and error along the way. So yeah, it's an exciting topic for me.
Good.
That's funny you say you started at 22, because I'm not too far from that right now.
Oh wow! Okay.
I'm 24.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've been
Look,
working
it
around
looks like
this.
you are already on track because your image, hey, it's fire. I like it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, but I might be young, but I'm no stranger to the game, though. I've been working
Hey,
since I was like 14, 15.
I get it. And
Yeah.
you know, it's all about digging your heels in, doing your research,
Exactly.
and just knowing who you are coming out of the
Yes.
gate. Because we're never gonna finish learning.
Right.
We're gonna
right.
learn until we leave here, and we also have to be able to pivot at a moment's notice, i.e. the pandemic. But I guess we'll get into all of that a little bit later. Bishop, is it okay if I call you Bishop?
Hey, that's it. That's what they called me.
Well, did I answer your question, or was that not the question yet?
I haven't even started with the question yet. We just
Okay. I'm trying to stay in order. Y'all got me excited. I love this topic.
Good, good, good. Well, I told you we had the right person. You love the topic, and we love asking questions. So,
All right, go ahead.
so here's the first question. So now, back in the day, there was a commercial that came out, and I don't know if you remember, because I'm an older guy. So, but there was a commercial from one of the tennis players was in that commercial. It was a Canon commercial when deal with photography and all that. And I think his name was Andre. Is it Andre Agassi or something like that? The tennis player. He was on there. And the commercial, he had his long flowing hair and things of that nature. And then he came out, and the tagline was, "Image is everything." I don't know if you remember, that might have been the 70s or 80s or whatever, but that was the key, and everybody around the world was saying image is everything. But it has some merit to it, to that tagline, and that's what sold whatever he was selling there on the Canon cameras and so forth. That's
Right.
Canon made its name off of that commercial.
That's right.
Matter of fact, I got a Canon camera I just got for my birthday. So, but image is everything, and I kind of want to spin from there and ask you guys, when someone refers to image, help build my image, what are they saying to you when you hear that?
Right.
What's your take on that?
Ladies first.
Okay. All right. See, Christian's trying to put me in the hot seat. See there? Okay.
Hey.
So are they asking us, you're saying, what do we say if they say, help me build my image?
Yeah, right.
My first couple of questions would be, it goes back to some things that Les Brown taught me, in training with him. Who are you?
Right.
Why do I care? And what's in it for me?
Right.
So who are you? What are you trying to represent? What are you trying to convey? Who are you looking for? Who is your client? Who is your target audience? Why do I care? What's my takeaway from this whole thing? What makes it relevant to me and my story and my family and my pocket? And then what's in it for me is, okay, after I get all of this messaging, I'm buying in, I'm listening, but then after the fact, what kind of impact can it make on my life? So now if you can answer those three questions for me, then you have pretty much set up, the alley-oop. Now all we do is hone in on whatever that is based off of what your answers are, because it's hard for somebody else to tell you what your image is if you have no clue who you're trying to represent, who you're trying to talk to, and what your own messaging is. So we have to be a little bit more clued in on who we are as people and what we're trying to build before someone can help you, really define that and crystallize it for you.
Right.
That's my answer.
No, yeah, and I definitely echo those words. Just to summarize exactly what you're saying, because I would do the exact same thing. Really, image is based in identity. And so once you understand what your identity is, it's easier to locate how am I going to present myself to the world, which is really what image is. And that's what we would be doing with those questions, is figuring out how are we going to present you to the world? And then like Felicia said, how is that going to benefit the world after we've presented it?
Oh, wow. Okay, how's it going to benefit the world? How are you going to benefit the world? Do you think that businesses fail or succeed based off of them discovering who they really are?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
I mean, that's because that's key, because there are a lot of businesses who, it just seems like every 2-3 months they're trying to re-identify themselves or whatever the case is, or try, because they really haven't grounded who they are or settled who they are. I think that's what we see. So this is helping somebody already just off of that question,
And my personal opinion, if I may interject there, I personally believe that the reason, first of all, being an entrepreneur and having a business of your own is already such a, it's a huge task, it's a huge undertaking, and you really, really have to be in clear concert with God when you are stepping out like that, because you are out there. You're out there. And it's strictly on faith and being in alignment, but at the same time, now that you're out there, it's about making a business and not a buck. And I think a lot of times we focus on making the buck and not the business.
That's good.
So if we make the business, which is supposed to make indelible, indefinite impact, the bucks will come. But when you go in it trying to make a buck and not a business, it doesn't have a sustainable foundation.
That's so good.
Oh, wow. We're getting it. We're picking up right here on the living room. That's it. So we have to concentrate on making it a business and not making bucks.
Right.
Okay. And when we do that, when we can identify who we are and how we can benefit the world with who we are.
Right.
And then the products that we have stem from who we are. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why a lot of successful, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of successful businesses have things like vision statements and values that they put before themselves and their employees, that they may have and things like that. So, and that stems because they understand their purpose or who they are and things like that. So this is good. So now, how does branding stem from that? After you gave them their power questions, if you will, and they answered their power questions, where does branding come in? What is branding? Why is it so important? I know I'm asking you a lot of questions at one time. What is branding and why is it so important to a person and their business?
Christian, you jump in on that one.
You
got the fly hat on. You got the fly hat on. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we're throwing around a lot of keywords. We've said image, we've said branding, right? So I want to kind of separate those two terms real quick, because image is something that you're presenting visually, right? It's something that you can see and experience outwardly, right? Where branding, image is a part of branding.
Okay.
It's an entity that comes up under branding.
Okay.
So over time, you will see different companies, different organizations change their image. So Nike has had maybe 10 different logos, 15 different logos over the longevity of their company. So their image has changed over time. Their image will change with sponsors. Their image will change with people who are promoting their brand. It'll change over time, but your branding would theoretically and hopefully remain pretty consistent in the fact of your core values, like you mentioned, and the vision, what your company really stands for. And that's where you get into branding, when you're saying the reasons why we do what we do, and then also how we execute it and present it. So it's not just in front of the camera or in front of the scenes, but it's behind the scenes work as well. Yeah. So that's really what a brand is. A brand is how your company functions, why it functions like that, and then how you present it to the world. It's like an all-encompassing place to almost refer back to and also keep in the front of your mind when you're progressing in things, whether it's products, whether it's a new service that you're going to offer, whether it's launching something new, whatever it is. Your brand will be that thing that remains consistent, or should.
Okay. All right. Felicia, you want to add on to that?
I'm just going to say, in echoing everything that Christian already said, but to just simplify it a little bit further, if you want to just use an analogy by saying that your branding is normally the packaging, okay? The image. The image is the packaging. Right. But your brand is what is actually in that box. Yeah. Once you unveil, you know how they have all these unboxing videos on YouTube, oh, look what I got. I'm gonna open it, let's see. And all, taking out all this stuffing and stuff. Well, when people are introduced to your brand, they're doing this unboxing thing. And then once they get in there to see, like Christian said, your core values, what do you represent? What do you bring to the table? What kind of, and I keep saying, what kind of impact can you provide? You know, how does it affect my family? How does it give me a better situation in my everyday living? That is where the brand lies right there. So that is just a different spin on what Christian already said, because he's knocking it out the park. I can just chill out.
Yeah, he knocked that one out the park, didn't he?
Yes, yes.
We're going to let him run the bases on that one.
I'm telling you, I'm just having a good time.
Well, Felicia, I mean, this is good because we're talking about branding, and very few businesses that we know, the ones, especially the ones that are just saying spinning their wheels, haven't really taken the time to, you know, to brand,
Right.
you know, to make that brand before they have the box, the package. That is nothing.
Correct.
It's like it's an empty package, I guess you could say. Because
Correct.
they just
And
don't,
it's really hard to help them when they when they're approaching media. Say for instance, you know, like with me being in radio and being on the air every day, and you have businesses approach you about how can I advertise my business and stuff like that. You know, it's great to run commercials and stuff like that, but at the same time, how do we represent you well so that you can get, you know, business and leads and people calling and patronizing your business after they hear your advertisement? You know, you've got to know what that brand is before. You can't just say, okay, so and so on such and such street open 5 days a week, da 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 da. You know, something has to be in there that has some meat to it, that has, you know, a definable branding quotient for you, so that you as the advertiser or the person going on the air doing an interview or whatever, you know, somebody can hear that and say, okay, I need to check them out because they do XYZ. They stand for XYZ, or when you go there, you're going to get XYZ. So, you know, that's just kind of one of those things where sometimes people don't really have that piece of it all the way gelled together, but then they want to get, you know, advertisement and media help. But you gotta have that in place before you do that.
Awesome. That's good. Christian, what say you when it comes to making sure? I mean, so we would jump out there and put, and because we hear about marketing and advertising, right, and you know, we hear that about our businesses. Should we do that before we even have branded ourselves, or whatever the case is? What right, should be the steps? Because we have a lot of people who start or want to start businesses or right, have started businesses. What should be the advice for them? Some steps before they even, before they even advertise anything. Right. Because they want to, you know, I know most businesses, they want to just jump in it and say, hey, let's go ahead and, you know.
Yeah, put me on the air, coach. That's right.
Right, put me in the game.
Yeah. Whoa, who are you? What do you do?
Whoa, we're not ready yet.
Right.
I think a lot of it has to do with, we keep echoing that thing about what do you provide, what impact can you make? And I think that's the thing that people miss. I really do. People that have non-successful companies and businesses and products, I think that's what they miss. Because it's one thing to write a book and maybe it's about your life story, I'm not sure. It's one thing to write a book, it's one thing to create a product. But what happens when that product is no longer useful to your audience?
Right.
Can you then still see
that's
your
good,
business
Christian.
still sustain? Can you still move on and go further in that business when that one product is gone? And I think Nike doesn't always, I'm using Nike, they don't only have one shoe. You know what I mean? And so their business, they don't even have just shoes. And so their business stretches far beyond a product or a book or something that can make them money fast. It stretches far beyond that. It stretches into every area that they can impact in sports apparel.
That's
you know, and so is my company out here to help people that are in need? You know, a nonprofit. Is my company to give people better products that are better for them? You see, there's a bigger encompassing goal that has to be identified before you can just launch out with a product or launch out with a business. Where are we trying to go? Ultimately?
Right.
Right.
And that's where you'll find a lot of your mission and what you can give to the world. What is my ultimate goal?
Right.
And I think that's where you have to start when you want to start a business.
So
Absolutely.
So knowing why you wanna sell lemonade before you build the lemonade stand.
Yes.
Is that what we're saying?
Yep.
Yes.
You know.
Begin with the end in mind. You know, we've been taught that in most basic business classes, you know, begin with the end in mind. What is your end goal? You know, what is the end goal? And the end goal should encompass impact. You know, I think sometimes businesses, they confuse solving a problem for the consumer with solving a cash flow problem for themselves. You know, in consulting with a lot of authors or speakers or whomever that are trying to do, you know, startup products or what have you, they're always focused on the units. Well, if I write a book and I sell 1,000 copies, then I'll make XYZ.
Right.
Well, you're solving a problem for you. What problem are you
that's good.
solving for the consumer? Because if you can solve a problem for the consumer, you don't have to be concerned with whether you're going to sell 1,000 units or not. You're going to sell hundreds of thousands of units if you can legitimately solve a problem for the consumer, as opposed to focusing on solving a cash flow problem for yourself.
If you take that advice, you'll be a millionaire.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm telling you, that's good. That's accelerated wisdom right there. Listen, when we're going to take a little break. We're going to have our band. They're going to give us some good soft music to just get us prepared for the next segment. And but you just dwell on what was just said, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes and 3 seconds. And right now, we're going to hear once again from our dynamic band, Darren Brown and the Living Room Band, and we'll be right back.
All right.
right, give it up one more time for Darren Brown and the Living Room Band. I know you like that sound. It
Oh,
is
yes.
the Brown sound. That's what we call it. We're back. It's your boy, once again, the Bishop, and we're having a great conversation here on the Black Image. We're talking about branding. And we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to talk a little bit about fashion here on this second segment. And I am with Christian Andrew, a.k.a. CXA. He is a branding specialist and stylist, right? And I have our special guest all the way from Columbus, Georgia, Felicia L. Hamilton from Magic 101.3, the radio personality from that's doing it in the South, but she's going around the world. All right, so
That's right. I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, so we had a great conversation about branding, and like image is just really just the outward packaging of the branding, and without branding, it's going to be difficult to maintain and to keep that business flowing. Okay, and oftentimes, from what I'm hearing, oftentimes a lot of us get into business thinking about the money that we're going to make, and then we get hard pressed about trying to make those dollars. But if we build a brand and know the very purpose of why we want to create this particular business, then and how we're going to help our customers and those that
Right.
are out there, then that's really what's going to push us to have a successful business. We're talking about building a successful culture,
Yes.
right? Is that what you said earlier? A culture of success.
That's right. A success culture.
A
Let's
success
go.
culture, all right?
Yes.
All right, so let's get into this second segment because I'm learning. You see how I picked all that up, right?
Oh yeah, you taking notes? I got you.
I'm taking notes, right? I'm taking copious notes here, Felicia. And so now I want to talk about marketing, and then we're going to talk about fashion, okay? Because there's going to be someone who I guess I want to say they're going to be representatives of that particular business. So fashion has something to do with that because we still have to have that outward package, that image, right? But marketing. Now I've built my brand, if you will. I know what problems I want to solve for my customers and clientele. And now, but maybe how do I get my business out there if I started from scratch and I really don't know all these people, but I want to get my business out there. So I heard of something called marketing. So let's talk about marketing because that's an aspect of branding and image and things of that nature. So what is marketing and how what's a good way of doing that? Felicia,
Who's going first?
Felicia, you
Felicia
got it.
first, right?
Oh my goodness. Well, marketing has changed over the years. The way we market, put it that way. Marketing has always been important. We've got a lot of flag words now, like influencers and all of these cutesy things. But I just want to say this, and I talked about this on the air a couple of days ago. We've always had influencers. If you think about it, we've always had the Michael Jordans that had the Jordans, the Kobe's that represented different brands, and a lot of athletes that didn't. They were the original influencers. And over the years, things have evolved and changed with technology. And so marketing is purely the way or the vehicle by which you get your messaging out. That's your marketing. You've got a marketing strategy and then you've got a marketing plan, but it's simply the vehicle by which you get your information out there. How are you getting it out there? The branding is what it is when you put it out there, but the marketing is what is the vehicle that you're using to get the word out. And there's a lot of different avenues, and I know Christian has a whole plethora of different aspects of how you can get your brand out there. But for us in traditional media, of course, you have the traditional way. I come from an era where when I was 22 years old and I started off as a club promoter, because that's how I got into entrepreneurship. Yeah, I was the She Diddy in the Southeast. I was doing all of the parties, putting all the rappers on and doing all, doing shows and all of that stuff, because I had to finish paying for college. So I took something that I knew how to do well, which was party, because I was partying so much, I was about to flunk out of college. So I took what I knew how to do well and I turned it into a business. So I took knowing how to party well and I started having parties. And, but back then, we're talking the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, it was strictly hand to hand. You had to get out there and hand out flyers. Like you had to be about that life. You had to get out there and hand flyers out and stuff like that. So I come from that era of real traditional marketing. So now for me, my spin is a little bit different when you talk about adding social media to your whole marketing spectrum. Because for me, since I had already used, the traditional way of marketing for so long and did it well, social media just became kind of icing on the cake. Whereas now for a lot of people, they strictly use, digital marketing as their medium because there's so many different ways you can go with it. But, I'll let Christian chime in on that.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll just kind of pick up where my mind is at.
Okay.
And that is talking about marketing now. And I think right now where we are as a consumer in society, one of the greatest marketing tools now and then will always be you.
Yes.
That's something that's never going to change. You are going to market your business, your product, your brand, your service better than anybody else can. Why? Because it's a part of you, right?
Because you are your brand.
You are your brand.
That's exactly
you
what
are
I'm
your
trying to
brand.
get across.
Right.
You are your brand. And the consumer right now more than ever wants to see a figure to a brand. They want to connect emotionally with who they're buying from.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's why larger companies like, shut up with Nike, Adidas.
I got Adidas on here tonight.
Right.
Yes.
They'll have models and spokespeople because people want to identify with a brand. They want to see themselves in a brand. They want to connect with the brand. So if you can find a way to put yourself at the forefront of your brand and make your brand stem from you, you will have a more loyal following, a more loyal
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So whether you're passing out flyers, because that will still work, pass out flyers if you're on social media, if you're on the radio, regardless of what it is, if you build your brand based on who you are and who you want to be,
That's
you
right.
can communicate that effectively on any platform. And that's really what you want to do. You want to make sure your products can last a long time. You want to make sure your brand can last a long time. You want to make sure your marketing can last the stand of time. And so
Absolutely.
if you build your brand based off of who you are, you'll be able to market on any platform that comes on the scene, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Tinder, TikTok, I don't care what it is. No matter how the vehicle changes, as long as you can make your brand something that's identifiable and something easy to connect to, you're good to go.
And that's good because I was just thinking about how I had remembered that commercial from Canon. And it's like that stuck all these years, 30, 40 years or whatever. And that was typically, because of their marketing and what they strategized on how they were going to present themselves and their business to the world. Yep. And they use, of course, the tennis player there that everybody was familiar with during that time. And then, he's supposed to have been the sexy guy of the era.
Oh my.
And he came out with those tight shorts on that we used to wear back in the day. And and he flaunted his long hair to hit his tennis racket or whatever, and said, "Image is everything," and that stuck with everybody. And it's
Start saying that.
you gonna start saying,
Image is
"Image is everything," right? And but Mark, and so now because we have this social media world, as you guys were referring to, and businesses will lose ground if they don't stay with the times.
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
social media is very competitive. Is most of it's free,
Yeah.
but also you can also put advertisements on social media.
Yep.
So you have Instagram, you have what else? Facebook, you
Right.
have
Twitter,
you have LinkedIn and
YouTube.
YouTube, and I mean just all kinds of internet.
Absolutely.
You know,
You have all types of digital media at your disposal now. Yes.
Right. And I think that's actually more to our advantage than any other form of marketing, because it's based on a technological system, and systems can
Right.
be figured out, mastered, and utilized to your advantage.
Whoa.
Right. And I think something to think about is the fact that we've created technology, right? Nothing can be smarter than its creator, right?
Right.
come on.
Right.
So we have the capacity to understand, study, and figure out these algorithms that are working behind the scenes to get us seen more on social media, more than we could ever get ourselves seen hand to hand, face to face.
Absolutely.
So if we take the time to study, and there are also people out here who study these things. So
Right.
we don't actually have to do it ourselves. We can go on Google and we can say, what is the current algorithmic trends for Instagram? And you'll find research based on what time of day to post. You'll find research based on what words to use in your caption.
Wow.
What things to tag in order to get your product, your business, your brand seen by the maximum amount of people.
And that's good. And I know, because I didn't know that. So I know there's a lot of people that's out here that's viewing today that didn't have any idea that you can just Google some stuff and pull up that stuff and get yourself out there on social media. That's good. There's some algorithms, huh? It's not
That's
just
right.
it's not just rhythm and blues. There's some algorithms.
There's a system.
It's an algorithm. Al got the rhythm.
Al
You
got
know,
rhythm,
Al
right?
got the rhythm.
So now, Felicia, you're on the radio.
Yes.
So
Every day.
every day on Magic 101.3.
Yes, the #1 station. The #1. Look, our ratings just came in, so I'm riding high.
Okay, good. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Now, so you guys get a lot of people that want to advertise on the radio still. I mean, radio, it seems like it's never going to go away. So now you have that blend of radio and TV or internet rather, and so blogging and what you call it, blogging with the
Yes,
video logging. Or
blogging.
whatever. So you got all that now comprised. So how is the radio world and industry as it relates to marketing? Is people still doing it, or have they gotten away from it because of social media, or has it become a plus because of social media?
It's become a plus, and I'll just speak for iHeartRadio because we are the #1 platform for global messaging.
Tell
All
me.
right, global and digital messaging. We're the #1 for podcasts throughout the world. And the investment that they've made to become, technologically astute is actually astounding. So people, they marry the two. And I'll just say this, where we're located in what you call a community market. Like I stated earlier, debatably, we're the second largest city in Georgia. So our community really depends on personalized messaging. Okay, so in personalized messaging, when it comes to radio, they really want you've got the social media aspect of it, but people still want the connectivity when it comes to traditional marketing because it is such a community-based microcosm here. The way we're set up, you have to be plugged in community-wise, and you've got to have your ear to the ground. So it's good to put stuff out just from a digital, perspective, social media and all of that. But based off of where you are, if your demographic in your general area is really heavily community based, then yes, you need traditional marketing to go along with that, because then you're not just something else flying in the wind. You kind of got that local connectivity.
Right. And that goes back to your brand, because who are you serving?
Right.
Who are you serving? Who are you serving? And you have to know that, because some companies are strictly internet based.
Right.
They've got clients all over the world. Some are locally based. They might be they might fix transmissions locally. It might be a transmission shop. So they're not fixing transmissions in Germany. They're fixing them right here in Columbus, Georgia. So they need people like, say, myself to come on the air and say, hey, this is Felicia on Magic 101.3. I go right down the street to Mike the mechanic and he hooks me up. Do not play. Don't pass go. Don't pay $200. Go straight down the street and see Mike the mechanic when you feel like that transmission is slipping. So when you're in a community-based market, you need that high five from the unit that's plugged in to the community, which is your traditional marketing source, which would be traditional radio or traditional TV or what have you. So yeah, you got to marry that with the social media aspect. But you got, like Christian said, you got to know who you're serving. You got to know who you're talking to.
Right. Now, I heard the expression or quote that word of mouth is still the best marketing out here today.
Definitely.
Why is that?
Well, if you think about it, even social media plays into word of mouth marketing. It's not, distance doesn't have anything to do with word of mouth.
Okay, teach us.
So I can send you a DM right now of somebody else's Instagram profile, which is word of mouth marketing.
That's
because
true.
it's going from one person that knows another, and with endorsement.
So now,
right?
So word of mouth can be intertwined with
technology,
technology,
and social media, of course, and
wow.
that will always be your best, because your customer will always, a satisfied customer will always be a good marketing tool. It'll always be a great marketing tool. A satisfied customer should rave about you, and it'll endorse other customers to come as well. So yes,
absolutely. Think about it. When we shop on Amazon, what do we do for about an hour before we place that order? We look at the reviews, right?
At them reviews.
We don't know those people. We don't know where they are, but I can tell you, I look at every single review, the pictures in the gallery, and I'm like, let me see what this look like on her before I order this thing. So yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I agree with Christian. Definitely. That is another form of word of mouth marketing. So, it's under the guise of reviews, but it's still word of mouth. You're getting something co-signed or canceled by someone else, pretty much.
And word of mouth marketing, you can do things to really increase it, but you can't avoid it. So I have a friend I was just sitting at dinner with, and he actually does branding and image and styling as well. And we were kind of talking about our customers, right? Not in a bad way, just talking about them. Updating each other on life. That sounds better.
Clean it up.
Let's brand that better. So he was telling me about one of his clients that doesn't have the best quality product. Mm-hmm. And so they don't have a lot of repeat customers because the product isn't as good as it could be. It's not as good as the image. The quality of the brand is not as good as the image is. And so their word of mouth marketing is poor because anybody who buys from that brand then tells their sphere of influence not to buy from that brand.
Right.
So
Right.
you have to realize, let me not just try to turn around a quick buck like you were saying earlier, because that's going to get you in a negative place with your consumer. You have to
Absolutely.
make sure that quality
Absolutely.
trumps everything, whether it's a service, a product, whatever it is, quality has to back up your image.
Yeah, and if you got good quality, one thing we know that we will wait. If it's out of stock, okay, we in line. You know,
Right.
if it's even dealing with child care, like we had, people don't mind putting themselves on the waiting list for their child to be a part of that
Right.
child care
Right.
center.
If they know they're getting good quality,
Good
yes.
quality, good quality. Quality is a lot. Listen, I wonder, because I know we're running out of time, because, you know, anytime you're having a good conversation, it seems like time just flies with us. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if it's like that in Georgia, Felicia.
It is. It is.
Listen, I want to talk a little bit. We want to just touch a little bit about fashion. Okay. Now I know we're going to come back. I have a couple of shows lined up where we're going to actually be dealing with fashion. We have some fashion gurus that we're going to have on the show. But I know you guys both deal with fashion. You look fashionable. I came in like, I am relaxed.
You look good, sir.
I'm at
You look
home.
good.
I didn't put a suit jacket on or anything. I said, look, I'm coming on the living room like I'm really in my living room, right?
We are in the living room, and it's yours at that.
Listen, but Christian, I know, is a stylist. He takes his time with fashion. Felicia, I went shopping with him. to pick out something for me, and my wife was with us, and we just had a ball. But Christian
I would've
is
loved it.
meticulous.
Let's go.
He's meticulous in finding the right, okay, this is you, kind of thing, you know. Then of course I gotta confirm it, and I'm looking with my old mind like, you sure I should put that on, whatever the case is. But he knows how to put me relative to the time.
Gotcha.
Does that make
Gotcha.
sense? And so that I won't look like an old head, like I feel sometimes without doing jumping jacks and push-ups.
Now, let's not get it twisted. He's promoting me so well right now. And
See?
he's really being modest because he has a fashion sense of his own. That is fantastic.
I believe it. I believe it. I
Yes.
believe it.
No, but Christian, he's good. He pulls on me now. I'm challenged to be able to make sure. Now I have fashion for what I know in church, and you know, and just, you know, kind of what I see is because I have an artistic eye because I'm an artist, you know, by gifting, and
Praise the
so I can see some stuff. And know what not to wear. Put it
Right. Right.
But Christian take it to a whole nother level because he's into that, and so let's talk fashion. I mean, what do you? So again, it goes back to the person.
Sure.
Am I right?
Yeah.
But you can tell us better than I can tell it. So how do you go about styling somebody? Should we say that? Styling somebody.
Yeah. Where to begin? Fashion. A lot of it just goes back to your branding. So, who are you? What's your demographic? What age are you at the time? What crowd are you trying to appeal to? And again, like I said, if you build your brand according to who you are, it's not as hard of a process.
That's right.
Because my brand, I use a lot of neutrals. I'm modern. I'm trendy. So my brand is built on trend, which means it's built on change. So my image can change more often than, say, a brand that's based in community and stability and traditionalism,
Right.
like a church. Churches don't
Right.
rebrand often because they're based in community, tradition, and stability. And so it makes sense for the brand of a church to look the same for years.
Wow.
But for me, a stylist who changes with trends, a stylist and branding strategist, my brand changes. So today I'm wearing all denim and a harness and a hat. A month from now, I'm not gonna wear this harness
See?
because it's not gonna be hot. You know what I mean? But I do have things about my brand that stay consistent. I love neutrals, so everything I do is a neutral. You're not gonna really see me in color. It's just this is
Except for the
a
red
lot
hat.
for me. This is a lot for me. So it really it's
I
based
love
on
the
your
red
brand.
though, Christian. Just
Yeah,
so you
we
know,
gotta
I
keep them
love
in the red hat, right?
Thank you. So yeah, your fashion choices should be based on your branding.
Right, right. Okay. Now, should it like also like kind of like stay with the times? I mean,
Oh, definitely. I think you there's a way to be current without sacrificing your brand. You know what I mean? So you know, maybe you're a pastor, right? So maybe you
Maybe.
and you are you're an apostle. So you prefer to dress up, maybe to wear a suit. Great. Well, there's also different cuts, fits, patterns,
Right.
materials that are new now. So where back in the day you might have been billowing in the breeze with your pant legs, that's
Right.
not where we're at no more. So
Right.
you can maybe bring that down to a slim fit. You know what I mean? Maybe you're up in age a little bit more. You can't really do the skinny. That's okay. But you can be a little bit more modern with a slim fit. So there's different elements of fashion that can be contemporary, but still very much so aligned with your brand.
Awesome, awesome. Felicia, I know you know some good fashion and style there in Georgia in the South. What, I see you got what you got on there. Look like you got a nice style that you have there. Is that an African outfit, an Indian
Well,
outfit, or just?
this actually is a an African styled jacket, but I'm representing my sorority tonight, the greatest sorority in the world, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Oh wow!
So, and this was one of my gifts from one of my sorority sisters. So, but I agree with Christian on the whole, you know, fashion thing. Being in media and having to make so many appearances, and I mean, even during the pandemic, it didn't slow up for me. So when I'm at home, I really just like to have on sweats and be comfortable, you know. But I would say when it comes to, you know, your branding and your style, it's like Christian said, it's going to be appropriate for what your message is, you know. I mean,
Right.
you're not going to walk around with a wife beater on and a combat hat if you're the person who owns the daycare center. I mean, it's just what is your messaging, you know? Or you gotta offer your potential clients what they're gonna get from you from the jump before you even open your mouth. So how you introduce yourself before you open your mouth is usually stated through your fashion. So it should be appropriate to what your brand is, appropriate to the season, appropriate to your body type and your angles and stuff like that. And, you know, just current. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be fly and flashy all the time, but you definitely have to be on brand. So that's just one of my, that's the litmus test for me. Am I on brand? If I'm not on brand, then I need to change. So, am I on brand?
If I'm on, I got to stay on brand. That's good.
I have to stay on brand. Yeah. So, depending on what I'm doing, you know, because I could be hosting an event at, you know, I could be doing a carnival. I might be hosting at a choir event, a church event. I might be speaking at a church. I might be hosting a concert. So it just depends on what's going on. I'm still a media personality at each and every one of those things, but what's going on in the environment and how do I stay on brand? So that's how I determine that.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Was it something you have a final word for us?
I have a final word.
Yeah, no, give us a final word because I know we're right there at that moment where we.
Yeah. So I wanted to be able to equip the people, huh? So I don't want to just give you this information, but I want to give you a resource to be able to help you propel your business forward. So Lady Palmer actually has a masterclass called the 5 Keys for Success in Business. And in taking that class, you'll understand, she goes through who you are, which is a part of your identity, and finding out what your brand is. And she takes you through all the steps of not this. She has multiple classes. In this class that I'm talking about now, she helps you with the things that you need before you really start your business, which is what we're talking about tonight,
Right.
solidifying your brand. And so we'll definitely connect you guys with the information. You guys can go to Talking Business with Barbara on Facebook, and you can email businesswithbarbara@gmail.com, and she can help you out and get you started on the path that you need to get on in order to really have a successful branded business.
No, that's good. That's real good because she's dynamic
She is.
at what she does there and
She's
in
creating
helping
millionaires.
businesses. Yeah, businesses. I see people, I mean, they are very excited about their business, and some of them were like, I don't know where to start. Others was like they had already started, like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
Or whatever. And then it's like they have a whole new perspective
Shoot, I have
and
a whole new
energy.
perspective.
Right. So that's Talking Business with Barbara. And if you DM the living room, see how I'm doing that? DM the living room, and we can make sure that we can get you in contact with Barbara for her classes. And trust me, that is an investment that is well worth your time and your money. So Felicia, how can people reach you and get in contact with you?
Well, they can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's my name. I am my brand, Felicia L. Hamilton. I'm Felicia L. Hamilton on the radio. I'm Felicia L. Hamilton off the radio.
Hey.
You can download the iHeartRadio app, iHeartRadio, and then click on Magic 1013. So no matter where you are, anywhere, I can be right there in your hip pocket, and you'll never miss my show. I'm on 10 to 3, Monday through Friday. I do motivational videos and speaking. I do just a plethora of other things, but look me up. Let's get connected and let's see how we can help each other grow.
Awesome. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Felicia. 101.3, The Magic. It's Felicia herself. She is the she-ro, the she-diddy. She is the one and only radio personality on iHeart Magic 101.3. Thank you so much for being a special guest with
Thank you.
myself.
Thank you so much.
And I have my dear friend and the one that makes things happen right here on the living room, CXA, Christian Andrew himself. He is
right, Christian.
the image. Thank you guys for tuning in to the living room where real conversations take place. We are out of time, not out of conversation, but out of time. But join us again next week right here on the living room, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. We'll see you later. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room where real conversations take place.
Dear listeners, viewers, supporters, fans, friends, or family of the show, we are honored to have you here to share your time, your thoughts, and experiences with us. This was created to be a safe but truthful space, and with truth comes light, in
the living room.
Welcome to
It's the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room where real conversations take place. It's the living room. It's the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room where real conversations